Title: The Ghost That Asks Before She Kills. Help this channel grow. Like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more stories. This helps us a lot. Thank you. The story begins. The Whisper in the Alley. Tokyo never really sleeps, but some corners of it wish they could. It was past 1 a.m. when Akira, a 22-year-old nurse, stepped out of the Shibuya metro station. The neon lights flickered on the wet pavement, reflecting 100 versions of her tired face. Her last patient of the night had died during surgery, and though she'd seen death before, something about that man's final stare had followed her out of the hospital. She walked home through a narrow alley she always used, a shortcut between two old apartment blocks. It was usually empty, just the hum of vending machines and the distant sound of trains. But that night felt heavier. The air itself was too still. Her heels clicked sharply against the ground. Then came another sound. Perfectly in sync, but not hers. She turned. No one. Just shadows swallowing the far end of the street. Akira laughed nervously to herself. Tokyo was safe, she reminded herself, but she still walked faster. When she turned the next corner, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Am I beautiful? She froze. A prank? A wrong number? She typed back. Who is this? No reply. A gust of cold air rushed behind her, and she smelled perfume. Faint. Out of place. She looked up and saw a woman standing under a flickering streetlight. Long black hair. White surgical mask. Long beige coat. Her head tilted slightly to the side. Excuse me, Akira started, voice trembling. The woman took one step forward. Am I beautiful? She whispered. Akira blinked. Wait, you are. The woman's gloved hand reached up. Slowly, she pulled off her mask. And that's when Akira's scream cut through the empty alley. From ear to ear, her mouth was split open, the torn flesh frozen in a smile. Blood, dried and cracked, stretched across her cheeks. Still, the woman asked, voice wet and shaking. Am I still beautiful? Akira stumbled back, clutching her chest. Please don't hurt me. The woman took another step forward. Her head twitched unnaturally. You said I'm beautiful. Then you must be too. The lights went out. Akira's scream echoed through the concrete, then silence. The next morning, Tokyo police found a body in the alley. Early 20s. Cause of death, unknown trauma. Her face was mutilated, slashed from ear to ear. Locals whispered the name they tried to forget. Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman. A legend reborn in the age of neon lights and smartphones. That night, CCTV footage from the area showed something strange. At exactly 1:02 a.m., Akira appears, walking alone. At 1:05 a.m., she turns towards something out of frame. And then, for a single frame, the camera catches it. A blurry female figure standing behind her, face too wide, smile too red. The file corrupted right after that. But the timestamp remained clear. 1:06 a.m. The same time every victim in Shibuya had vanished over the past 6 months. The question that never ends. The morning after Akira's death, the news spread like wildfire across Tokyo. Young nurse found dead in Shibuya Alley. Police suspect serial killer. But the residents knew better. They had heard this story before. Detective Hiroshi Takeda, a 20-year veteran of the Tokyo Metropolitan Police, was assigned to the case. He had seen murders before, but not like this. The report described no signs of forced entry, no weapon, and no struggle. Only a horrific wound, a symmetrical slit running from ear to ear, the same as the folklore described. The media called it a copycat killing. Locals called it revenge from the dead. That evening, Takeda and his junior officer, Mina Kobayashi, walked the narrow alley where Akira was found. The asphalt was still stained a dull brown from blood. A faint smell of perfume lingered in the air. Floral, artificial, unsettlingly sweet. Mina broke the silence. Sir, the CCTV shows something strange. The static isn't random. It flickers in sync every time at 1:06 a.m. Takeda frowned. Electrical interference? No. I checked with city maintenance. That light post doesn't have power fluctuations. That's something else. The detective exhaled, eyes narrowing at the camera's red light above them. He'd seen crime scenes corrupted by superstition before, but something about this felt personal, intelligent. He bent down to inspect the cracked pavement. There, almost hidden in the dirt, was a small white object, a broken piece of plastic. He picked it up carefully. It was half of a surgical mask. Later that night, at the precinct, Takeda opened Akira's phone records. One message stood out. A text sent from an untraceable number. "Am I beautiful?" He leaned back in his chair, muttering, "Just like the legend." The folklore dated back to the 1970s, an urban myth told to children about a woman whose mouth had been cut open by her jealous husband. Her spirit would appear to strangers on lonely streets, masked and polite, asking the same question. If you said yes, she would reveal her mouth and ask again. If you screamed or said no, she would kill you. If you stayed silent, she'd vanish. Most dismissed it as myth, but now real bodies were piling up. Mina knocked on the door. "Sir, we got another report. Same area." Takeda rushed to the scene. This time, the victim was male, a university student named Kenji Ito. He was found on a side street, his phone recording still active. The officers played the audio back. Footsteps, breathing, and then, a female voice. "Am I beautiful?" Kenji's voice trembled. "I don't know who you are." Then static. Then a scream. The phone fell, the recording ended. Takeda's hands tightened around the device. 2 deaths. Same time. Same question. He looked around. The area was cold, colder than it should have been. The alley lights buzzed weakly, and from somewhere distant, he heard a woman humming softly. Over the next few days, reports spread across Tokyo. People claimed to see her reflection in subway windows. Some heard whispers through their phones at night. Others said she followed them, always at the corner of their vision. Takeda's rational mind refused to believe it, but his instincts told him this was no ordinary case. One night, he returned to the station to find a folded note on his desk. It wasn't signed, just 3 words, written in red ink. "You saw me." The security footage from inside the station showed something chilling. At exactly 1:06 a.m., a figure in a white mask walked through the entrance. The cameras glitched. When the feed returned, Takeda was asleep at his desk, and the figure was gone. By dawn, Tokyo was gripped with fear. People avoided alleys. Students stopped taking late trains. Taxi drivers refused to pick up masked women. But for Takeda, there was no choice. He had to find out who, or what, was behind this. He opened Akira's autopsy photo again, staring at the wound. It wasn't cut clean. The edges were jagged, as though the victim had smiled while dying. He whispered to himself, "Whoever you are, or whatever you've become, I'll find you." Outside, the neon lights flickered again. And from the dark, a whisper floated through the empty street. "Am I beautiful?" The woman beneath the mask. Detective Hiroshi Takeda hadn't slept in days. The same nightmare haunted him every time he closed his eyes. A woman in white, her whisper slicing through silence. "Am I beautiful?" Every new report followed the same pattern. The same time, the same wound, the same perfume lingering in the air. By now, Tokyo's streets were emptier than ever after midnight. Fear had replaced the hum of nightlife. The police line between myth and reality was blurring. But Takeda couldn't stop. Something about this case felt like an unfinished conversation, as if someone was calling him directly. The forbidden file. Inside the police archives, he requested permission to view a sealed case file, one that hadn't been opened in over 40 years. Case name, subject, Kuchisake-Onna. Date, 1979. Location, Kyoto Prefecture. Status, unsolved. Inside were yellowed photographs. The victims back then had the same mutilated faces. Same expression frozen in terror. At the bottom of the file, Takeda found an old photograph. A smiling woman with sharp eyes and perfect symmetry. The caption read, "Mika Sato, age 27, missing." Mina, his assistant, looked over his shoulder. "Is that her?" Takeda nodded slowly. The first. The legend started with her. According to the file, Mika Sato was a beautiful actress. Her husband, a plastic surgeon, became obsessed with her beauty and consumed by jealousy. One night, during a violent argument, he slashed her face open with surgical scissors, screaming, "If beauty is all you care about, then no one else will ever see it again." She died of her wounds, but witnesses claimed her body vanished from the hospital morgue the next morning. Soon after, people in nearby towns began reporting a masked woman asking strangers the same question, "Am I beautiful?" The priest's warning. Desperate for answers, Takeda sought out a retired monk named Father Hashima, who had once been called to perform rituals after the Kyoto killings. The old man's face was deeply lined, his eyes hollow with memories. "She's not a ghost in the way you understand," he said. "She's an echo, trapped between shame and rage. Every time someone speaks her story aloud, she finds her way back." Takeda frowned. "You mean every retelling brings her closer?" The monk nodded. "Legends feed on belief. And in a city like Tokyo, where everyone's watching, hearing, and sharing, she's more alive than ever." The words chilled him. He realized that every social media post, every viral rumor, every YouTube video about her was fuel. Unknowingly, the city itself was summoning her. The third victim. 2 nights later, another call came in. Victim, Aya Fujimoto, age 19. Location, Shinjuku District. When Takeda arrived, the scene was eerily quiet. The girl's body lay at a bus stop. Her face mutilated, but this time, something different. On the fogged glass behind her, a message was smeared in blood. "I am beautiful now," Mina whispered. "She's not just killing, she's communicating." Takeda's hands trembled. The spirit wasn't just repeating a curse, she was evolving. He checked Aya's phone. The last video recorded at 1:06 a.m. showed a silhouette approaching. The woman in white. But as she moved closer, her reflection appeared in the glass. And standing behind her reflection was another woman. 2 figures. One masked, one unmasked. "Sir," Mina said softly, "what if she's not alone anymore?" The last night. That evening, Takeda received an email from an anonymous account. "You want the truth? Come to the alley." 1:06 a.m. He knew it was reckless, maybe suicidal, but something inside him told him this was the end. He packed a small recorder, a flashlight, and a charm Father Hashima had given him. Salt and silence. The monk had said, "She can't stand purity or truth." Mina begged him not to go alone, but he left without backup. The alley was the same one where Akira had died, quiet, cold, and faintly smelling of perfume. The flickering light above buzzed weakly. He checked his watch. 1:04 a.m. Then, the air thickened. The sound of heels clicked through the dark. And there she was. Long black hair. Surgical mask. White coat. She moved with slow, deliberate grace, head tilted, eyes shining wet and hungry in the dim light. "Am I beautiful?" she asked. Takeda steadied his voice. "You were, until pain took that from you." She tilted her head further, pulling off her mask, revealing the wound raw and glistening. "Then look at me now," she hissed. "Am I still beautiful?" Takeda didn't flinch. "No, but you can be free." For the first time, her expression changed. Confusion flickered through the rage. He held up the charm and scattered salt around them in a circle. Her smile twitched. The air screamed. A wind howled through the alley, lights shattering one by one. "You think this will save you?" she shrieked. "I can't die," Takeda said. "But you can rest." He raised the charm, chanting the monk's final words. "Beauty fades, truth remains." Her scream pierced the night, echoing through every screen, every phone nearby. People across Tokyo reported hearing a woman's voice whisper through static. Then, silence. At sunrise, police found the detective unconscious in the alley. The salt was scattered, the ground cracked, but no body. Just a mask lying in the center, its edges wet with blood. Takeda never spoke publicly again. He retired quietly and disappeared months later. But the reports didn't stop. Now, when Tokyo's streets go quiet at night, people claim to hear a woman's voice through their phones. Soft, curious, and near. Am I beautiful? And if you answer yes, she'll find you.